innocent. A man for say nanim eluki innocent. Ba ne kasa eluki innocent. Onia agwa.
Yeah, mo.
Bibi aboko there.
Oh, nyame adom.
Last time I say you 2 days never one match. Omo ganjo.
So 11 o'clock. And yeah, 90 minutes. So yeah,
it will eat into next the next day.
It's something I think I'm on for drink call home. Maybe our boss run quickly now. I think it's quite interesting. Yes, and then yes, short tonight. You 2 goals.
I know.
So we're just hoping.
One match, you do 2 days. I should 2 goals.
Yeah,
okay. Sabi be able call.
Oh, nyame adom.
Okay. Time I there. Ni na na ye wa dia. Enti ye behwe na other national issues aka no ebeyi afi honom ti ati for Ivan, a political health policy analyst and a youth activist. Ivan there on here introduction be of this platform, but for the purpose of the new listeners, one more about a fresh for no tina ye bo nidi actually one. Yan share Wontumi plea bargain issues out about the oral cases are what down na manfo ni GD ban say in terms of fighting corruption or the buyer. It was even part of their campaign manifesto. Launch or winneba later last if I say middle of
2024.
Year 24. Now ora aba in so follow cases be chairman Wontumi or 3 cases bako lawyer say judgment day watching home but report to Chirimu new lawyer wabano 3 July ne de sesan bia no enya de se ebeba bank bosi okokogye wose nsu ato nsu ana adi nya yusu middle microphone ma me na me hade ase when say no maybe all okay wose over 300 billion OCDs investment or the share phone no nsu na afa no ntino a disaster, natural disaster. So far, these conversations, what do you share?
Yeah, I think it's sad because Obi Ghana habia before 2024 elections. In some idea here, Okruma aye katasishano chronoana atia atene. Because under Akufo-Addo, we all saw say we're bunania guso and people were just messing up the country. Enti na Ghana Nibia sabi onye NDC ni kura no hu say visibly ni people were stealing from us. Enti they wanted somebody about rise to the occasion to restore sanity. Sabi ya public person na amam for cars or mobile home by any way ya ayira no yebetimi akwaje abafie. Enti aban sesa no during the campaign one of the major way amam for gina so the two about has to do with the aura, and I think that there are other surveys about onti say people believed in that particular message President Muhammad Buhari say amount for awia isika we need to. So over aban necessary no. The economy started on a very good footing. All the economic indicators and statistics in the last time I enumerate in but still now man for a bashia bino. Now we was say a bin seed that I will chroma say ya to aba ama aban be take over. Now buying economically no what fix all the problems and near my main car said near money but you could see clearly the signs say we are comparative analysis on where we were and maybe we are. There has been a significant improvement. Na Ghana for new source near mano na mum or musing kete say abinding yanching crofobinum. It means the people were convinced and crofo about chrono. And today, I say the wheels of justice are grinding slowly. To be in Casa Wabandon a man for the Omakoko to jail. It needed to go through a process. And I think the pressure kwa Attorney General swa, and it was understandable because Chelsea Ghana for wanted that. And lo and behold, some of the cases in almost I said about Bonti, I think the Wontumi one of the classic cases Ghana for what interest because why would Chrome how follow Wontumi now tie ne kasam ne nema okeka said we see conducting ho clearly you see say some of these things in beba and this galam say issue I can yes President Mahama buy no mo fire be to Wontumi komu the Ghana for real free say na wo hodada Emma Kuba and other people raise man by a tag of 4 chroma. It took President Akufo-Addo no call for Rubia and a cockle to be so nyanya. So a issue appended that and several other issues. For instance, I had the Okoje 30 million or the Koya for and Ra or TV so can say who say and soon a fan ya. your friends say okokwaji your mine sika $30 million so the baba year for na no the day utimi okotwa tractor go egu baby picture now the could deceive a man for say why you man clearly no there needs to be some criminal inquisition into some of these things. And case na cause why cause but the funny aspect of this whole team, I mean started from the lawyer and the I think that is funny because what followed lawyer and the Appiah Kubi and I'm for a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
But I think that this particular time round and he didn't get it well. And the all year PR game be all year within the media. Say yeah, also a certain seed in the minds of people say Wontumi and treating it is a rule in the Bible and saying I say Kotia Wontumi. Then it turns into the usual NDC MPP politics.
Okay.
Because this is somebody who has been defending Wontumi throughout the court case. Throughout the court case, no tie some of the Bible and tia or person say judge near bias, but or not as experienced as he is. So we are lawyer and as a would do be asem. Now we are convinced beyond every reasonable doubt to say judge near and as even we are convinced that judge near bias ya. Ya wa kwanya faswa. Ye betimi dia farmer judge na recruit no ho. So you can even petition the Chief Justice. I catch and say, Papa, we are OD Yasemi, and that will not be the first time. So, Bakaya, a case, yana, cause your puni case, at some point in time, judges have to be swapped in as a forum. And do we are convinced, say, Judge be a biasa, your kwanya ya faswa, ya report to that particular judge. Now, since some now can sumu, now what basis na ye reasonable, you bet imagine as a judge now. By a course, ya antisa and the Appiah Kubi kika and same way in Erby. Afe waba watena se hu se upon all the evidence na won nsem no ye ono akari e wona dwemu na ohe nsem na yade bo Wontumi na there is no way the gentleman betime nya ne ho adi and akroma issues ba na wo ye na NDC MPP a the value of the conversation no elusu na ye in the politics and that is a strategy he has just adopted but it's unfortunate say a man for respecting, but for him to be leading this useless course, and I think that is quite unfortunate because he understands that they're now just PR gimmicks and now yes, yeah. Ruling ne ba a man for bakasa o ya targeti Wontumi na yenya na but no the day we or say always of file emotion judge no bo to or yes say na when the case o court now file emotions are say ni nyina go through.
Okay.
There has been a lot of instances a man for court or file emotions or be raise objection and as for judge no bo ni nyina to go it is part of procedure. If you think that near na or course no say judge no cry infringe on your human right way within the court now. Maybe you have the right to free trial under Article 19(1). So free say it has been infringed upon a court case in no course now. You can invoke that particular human right when violation with different court because Article 33 amount that particular chance when they come to human right violation even say case be cause of crime, you can isolate that particular case and pursue justice so far as that violation is concerned. And he knows all these things. And what be sound said, dear Baba, I'm an transaki cancer and say, when you know, what who's a ruling neighbor bontin about the casse. Your friend is saying a babontina and utia and some walkie kaka baby, a drew baby or say. Your friend is saying, so ruling the Bible until be shameful and as a form. And then you know, my catcher say, just PR tactics. But it's unfortunate because as somebody within the legal, your friend is a family, or you're privy to how some of these things you handle, it's really shameful for him to be going on the tangent that he's going. But Jaina has no consequential impact on the ruling. And a judge in a catcher, because I know the day, and your court in the far, your friends and the Appiah Kubi Juma, and you want to win a fair Juma, and it's a wood jai wound to me a Juma. You don't go and tell the judge, say, I Juma, my judge and flower Juma. All that you need to do is to tell your client to say, I do want to mean to me in the beam. All that your client will have to do is say, or court or be notify judge and say, my sister may counsel. And yet Appiah Kubi BM a way, but this whole thing all year was just to put up a show. Sabi about convincing Ghana for say something wrong be cause wo baby tia Wontumi, and the whole thing is not a prosecution but a persecution be a bina shada say odi Wontumi. But I think that Niaman all year doesn't fly in the face of logic, and into Ghana for treating over the contempt I deserve and the answer no akwakodano. Then the key issue has to do with this. Your friend is saying plea bargaining issue. Yes. And ubetia, there are some lawyers on the other side, and Appiah Kubi na jia to at TSC Krum say, oh, so because our plea bargaining and chess and nipani default. Nambum, your friend is on person will go through processing as a forum. But under your plea bargaining regime in this particular country, no, there is no way you can go through the process without admitting guilt. and that has to be established. And America say, enti sa ode de ekwana ayem futuro no mutu gu amanfo ani, because watch judge answer na court be punish you no. There must be your friend saying legal basis for that particular punishment. Enti sa okofa Ghana ye mrana na sa we go through a obukwa ko hu say answer na yede obi be court bia we presume that particular person to be innocent until proven guilty by court of competent jurisdiction. And this a wundi for obi en ho betimi punish you under the constitution of this particular country. And this a wunu obi call plea bargaining. Now the outcome of it, you will be punished. That at some point in time, the law has been carved in such a way, say, until you admit guilt, there is no way the judge can punish you, because that will violate presumption of innocence until proven guilty. Until the first time a plea bargaining by a madam, section 35 of the Court Act, that is Act 459. So, of course, section 35. I trust say economic issues say so obi who say why nearma at your mind no sika 7 na se for afa nsa tam na say opese oma all the sika no ba and now na aban no yen hye no otua sika na, you must admit guilt. And sana your friend is saying that particular process na come anya sa court no ntimi show say tua sika na dia woni for the better show. So it is quite clear. And na eno achi no and na President Akufo-Addo pension okofa asa we the buy your friend Special Prosecutors Act no. So obekai sa particular act na and also your friend saying 945 sa particular act no. So of course section 71 and also the same thing outline processes that you need to go through, and at any point in time biano you need to admit say you are guilty and sana waka kojina court no anim. And the Plea Bargaining Act 1079 na eba 2022 MPP for beja na ho call no. Se u go through and crowd there ebiebiem mo bia hu wo start ya woni attorney general be ye nhyehyeye agree say I don't know me na my me mpese be go through the process then as for no enti me pese me no ye nhyehyeye ne yete ase na attorney general na wo ne ye nhyehyeye no eno de enka process no kra ho mo wie bibia mo de akoto court anim no eho na major process no start free enti court no be ka kire o say answer na wone attorney general na for your negotiation na we innocent until proven guilty. What you say? Obaji atum plea bargaining na yede aba no ayo signature na wa ase obaji atum say mea. Then we catch us you read you right nyina kire wo. We say an you read me right nyina kire m. We are sure say ade we go through a wa wave or right to appeal. We say an ma wave. We are sure say ade we go through a sentence be a judge de be man no e say wo jitum. We say an wajiatum, then the judge will tell you say as at that point you need to plead guilty first before the court. So you need to plead guilty before the court, not with attorney general, because attorney general there negotiations kakena wo ye na wabe plead guilty before the judge. Then the judge will admit say what plead guilty. Emrano kwa emrano ma osisa one appeal guilty at that point the whole plea bargaining process we need to trash it because there is no plea bargaining. So answer never go through you need to plead guilty before the court. Now court now record it. Then the sentencing comes in. And the judge ebe sentence wa emrano say he shall consider agreement na when attorney general awache benoti ayakase obi consider there by force. By force. Because consider is not imposing. He can only reference it and be guided by it. And then shall you are mandated. But to consider that is not an imposing way. And the judge never has agreement now when attorney general what's the one jail 30 million no person 25 million yama 1 year. But judge ehwe mi yobakse da bi mente ase sika no betua 25 million and I say ubetua sa sika no ba mede 1 year be kan ho akodam and akodam 2 years then I say for them. So this whole process baby a ejina mu eye court nanim, and at that point you need to admit guilt. You were civil cases I don't know and in settlement a bit through arbitration then I say for I don't know what me no betime nya asem person me no be go through that particular process and on young could asem you betime ye arbitration ya settle ye ho and there is no point for you so plead guilty and I said not guilty and as I Appiah America omo na manfo nya cases bebree because omo ton phones no na asefo no ebia one customer bi ana oni obi nya asem na se ye ka se ye kokota kodi asem no afefe niam mu a the reputation of the company will be at stake. And they wouldn't want to go through that particular process. It is sometimes they go for settlement. And only different from criminal, your friend saying, the criminal part of it. Why you born at your mind, no? And the more beyond never be nada say, Wontumi any for anything or quaquaji, plea bargaining, or no one who say process it all, and one man, near dinner somewhere, Nina and trouble because Emrana Shekete say, answer na plea bargain ever go through, no. You must first plead guilty. And yes, I judge no entimi man and she say bia because it will have no grounds in law. Then I say for them. And some na air cost when ra or no aquatena so sanko gu na nimas ba minim nipo mutu sankrofo wefo. Sometimes I didn't musa na another two opposition kasa boom 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 no. The same thing. Because you see, case in the ni assembly may have bearing on whatever that is going on.
I see.
What I say? Ebi na kwaye abutrika na FBI case na issue no kwasi ama belo akwati na fe na wo ye interview. Everything you say subsequent to any proceedings, no, may be referenced. You understand?
You're very recorded.
Exactly. Because today he's saying, say, a phone or door.
Yeah.
Although we no, your friends and so now we have to chromatic tsunami BTC and your friends a hurricane BC chroma. Bro, for almost bear whatever acres win and so sweet in Sansem when I am crasem and oko social media, you see the revulsion and the anger Ghana for every civil some of these things. So I think say Wontumi has no case. The fact of the matter they say were perpetrating fraud against the republic of this particular country and a state to go after him. Say NDC as a political party and as a government, I am not doing say about which hante obi wo MPP man. I am not sure. Said any political strategic person will go after Wontumi. Do you know why? Because you go for somebody our political capital value, our positive influence on the party. So our party nima, and my party ni gain. But Wontumi is somebody whose presence and I say he being part of the MPP, no, it's a negative factor. And such person, you should never target such a person. Because party no womnuko uko kumasia. True or no, a lot of people have left the party. And do we obi a political strategy that will devise obi na person or which hunting will you go for such a person? You want more of his kind to be in the party. Sebeya obekoso apama man for free party no. So clearly, no, it is because of the things that why okwakwaje bosia as a wutie date ya or the tea company no so they kwaje bosia na company no and they now okwakwaje bosia no nyini chain company no. That is an element of fraud because they na wo they kwakwaje company the nyanti
company na wo they apply for loan no.
Yes.
Yeah, company no.
Or apply for loan no and sana register company no was incorporated. What I say that is the basis. And then again, Nensaka Sikana so far Jume for then as a phone no. There were strict guidelines and as or adhere to where another company ebe regulated the partner what for more jumano. Sebeya ombetime monitor sa wa fa nipa adwuma omutua ne ka okachiro omo se nipa na ofo omo adwuma no dodo na when it comes to IT ne na se for mo internet back and forth na omu need that particular orientation, you know, and you know about your mocha. And then when Ghana, so when it comes to monitoring and evaluation, some of these things are very effective. Yeah. And then he took all these steps just to ensure say Sikana Babanaho. At the end of the day, he did not buy anything. Akokwaje pro former say invoice. Onwa fa nyansa kwan so papa ye no receipt a nyame ama ne nyansa manam papa serial numbers na eno na kofa na wie ye bae so akoto cars ne nasefo a eno hu nyina ba. So you see say aban ka say or go after people na Ghana for no so gitum say nkrofo bi de omonsa ba oman sikam and we need to go after them. I think that this is a test case. Ghana ni bia ni di achire. But as to whether the government will accept plea bargaining or not, no, we have no control over it. And personally, I am against this plea bargaining thing because it's highly unreasonable at this point. All that we want is deterrence, you know. You better resort to some of these things because the existing criminal justice system, no, and making it possible for us to jail whoever we want to jail and at the same time recover our money. You understand? Because plea bargaining, especially within the political landscape, it will be abused. The last time now I was saying, the whole essence of its introduction started somewhere in America in 1800. Yeah. Because now pressure, court, so, and prosecutors, they shall see any accused persons. Why would you say would for forward? Then they will negotiate, take it to the judge, and the judge will agree. Then you go home. And now, America, about 90% of their criminal cases, settle through plea bargaining. And now, almost 90% go through plea bargaining. And nema among for faso muisu in a certain way. But when is a no, nema be a beseno. And it's a quabrani be who sad in Ukrum haya. No business by the same crown of 2022. Among for dear near ya mende at 30. Kofa sad with Baba shame.
Yeah.
Clearly, just people had a motive because what transit who's a chrono they are. How do we wriggle out? And this is a strategy, you understand? Now, my case plea bargaining deba kwa. Baby and who acquire hot because even where it started, among for criticizing then abandon the wheels of justice because at the end of the day, whoever can pay our bargaining will bet me bargaining well, no, will get away. And they making sure that the existing system now kasano will target the money that the person has stolen, and at the same time, we jail whoever that we want to jail. Sabe yebe serve as a deterrent to obi out in chance. Amamone yama opportunity se brab on my muna betrom bebu on my swa. And yes, a winning yansa chen yobi. And answer ya quenya se for pesika maho. Namum on my no one she say ya idea gu as a woody so. Nasa one niswa a mirror bedru you'll be answerable to Obia as a one sound to the state. And the air cost is also a lesson to people within the NDC government today. Wherever you find yourself, Wontumi day is one to two near my also dear beba. Because it's a progressive thing air cost. So I think that these are some of the things that we need to do. As to whether the Attorney General will accept or not, that is up to them. And whether or not could do court will okay it to become whatever legal or whatever, that is up to them. But my basic principle is I am against this plea bargaining principle because you see, it seeks to create a certain impression, say, among many people, especially Opa, you can do a survey, I put it to him to conduct a survey on this. How are Ghana for a feeling towards plea bargaining and so forth. Yeah. Because out there, no, among for impression, we say, kwanya the political elites and the political class in the first and negotiating. We are now negotiating the criminal liabilities, then they go away. Now because ya kasa min konko we sika after 5 years, means emetie mu 90%. And when you just steal the money, you go do investment. At the end of the day, you negotiate your way and you get away. You understand? So for me, I think that when it comes to some of these highly sensitive political crimes against the state now, it is not just about the recovery of the money. It's also a way of sending message to people out there, say, we are trying to reinforce a certain red lines, via conventional red lines. You don't cross them. The very moment you cross them, nudi. Now you're making sure, say, baby, that is the only way betting me about mine hobbying. And your mom nama, the day, and I won't to be a target, and I won't to be a say, no. Senga President Mahama Baye. And I want to me a need na some yanyaneshe and a yatam no and a yadnakoto prisoner. Then you have a cause to complain. But as it stands now, no, he's been subjected to the proper procedure in court. Proper court near court of competent jurisdiction. I am man on the right and Article 19. Right to your friends fair hearing. Everything I see there when you right to cancel or go through the process in as if for you. I don't know the day. Say judgment in a Bible until a judge never catch and say, oh. Media assembly Wontumi who someone. I am not sure that anybody will be angry. Yeah. Now say go the other way so that is how it should be. But these people quickly, in order to water everything, no, at Krum, and I don't know the kind of political strategy this time around MPP want to put forward because Obakaya Abra LGBT and Marano Babonte, they could not pass within their timer. Now no, go through no. You saw the kind of a strategy of Muyuzu, yeah. Not to put pressure on the president to sign because they know that the president will sign when they get to him. Now, yen taking away value from your friend is saying the bill. Sabaya Ghana for Bakasa bill no clear to free. But don't forget, say, Afenyo marking in 2024 was on TV telling people, say Obi a gay on deserves of a court jail. on deserve se be punish no a behavioral disorientation and nipa nanya enti ase ye de call institutions no ye ma omo communal ye fan punishment ne na se for no that person no was able to justify that punishment obi a ono watimi introduce prison sentence into the law no ono watutu musia because say anya dirty politics na we ya de bembem na wo be. So that is the same strategy and omo adopting her just to send a message to people say Wontumi is being hounded and to say bamwa ya kan ye, then I know they becomes politics. So for me I think that na in Sri Lanka nya me say ba bia Ghana for aduri amam for dodo na politically they are very active. A man for enim de ekoso. So some of these dirty political tactics now, this 1990 playbook now, you think that you can whip on the emotions and on sentiment of the people. Now what deceive them no, and you cannot have that particular space because anya hwe wantie oko social media obenya biatie and now wo ye na wanya ntia or go back obetimi at his own way comfort way no obetimi atie and then the people will be educated. So I think that the MPP will have to vary their political tactics in the strategy. Because this patapa gidi no, I don't know, it worked for them maybe in the 90s, in the 2000s. But this time now, the consumers of the political market, people are very assertive, very critical, very intelligent. And the other baby no, bisa whole question answer. Man say NDC MPP into kan ya wafa ahwadi. Now no yati ha and a grown men. Sorry, so mo kwa fari. Minim sa wo hesa video no bia. Eko ka kire President Mahama say waba 18 months ni adenti na fare enya adwuma na wo bisa ho say 8 years na MPP wo power no yetu afare di kosi China na ni krom ha President Mahama baaye na yede baaye and sometimes nema no mo ye no just say there is no the poverty of logic and intellect in the kind of argument they make. Sometimes what in China we are cry you become so surprised and in Crawford when no moody or mine or so no. Because watch it, you may have legitimate cause of President Mahama bias even so on call hokrana. The mere fact say what's in a conjunction for 8 good years. Dina Yakano, SC or Florida, where we know vote can free. Now what tenants say abandon the place. It got to a time other journalists crack or horse or monquack or shed the echo to her. Ye who the omo, so ya for boamam for binim form, ewo chroma saying. Hospital no ye jai my moon near my home in say the same thing ye sagleme and then I know Black Rasta ko ye video. Now we near my say ye to aboa noa uho yembesho. And today these people have the courage. Say omo ko afari. Na cameramen enyo mochi and their bed is to question government why afari enya adwuma because konfa no chia ye ma. Now who said sabi sometimes you know etire na ye de politics no kroma no dodo na sabi anyeti papa because wo soro na sa wo take some of these course one kasa you need to do self introspection, ask yourself critical questions. Adenti na manye we na ade na manye na me ko bisa ho asem no de be na nyansafo be fa aka fa me ho, but maybe you need to be smart to do all these calculations. When you're smarter you can just go there and embarrass yourself, and I think that is what is happening within the MPP. So somebody need to sit them down. Opposition, you know, you need to understand the modern terrain na no, the mindset of the people. The nipa no share from your opposition, because you see, whenever you lose power, you lose connection with the people. You need to reconnect, and reconnecting, you know, the language, the tone, your message, everything, you know, must be carved in such a way so very appealing to the people. But that aggressive, hostile manner. Yanya ni NDC MPP issue no nyansa omo nyansa animo the very moment we do it the MPP way the NDC way no thinking say the people will buy. Trust me, the young people of this country now no don't give a damn about those politics anymore. Sa politics no more relegated to the back door. Our mono they are not interested. They are only interested in the policy alternative. Nema buying the betimi aye dia bomo. The options that are available, job opportunities are buying the how the economy can be stable. They are stabilizing no ama niema koye kwanya your friends are ama the personal individual economy no atimi agina ye no. That is what the average and ordinary person is looking at, but not this trivia friends saying 12th century politics now, things that we can just harness hype on the emotional keyboards of the people, and because they are tribally affiliated to us, you know, that politics is gone. It's the reason why consistently you see them embarrassing themselves all the time on TV. But I think that where we are, So wo he baby a yegina baby na ye wona baby e we ne. Na wo he the signs so far na. It give you a certain hope and confidence. Ya yere ya ho a ye beko ye. And I think that is why the focus should be. Whoever on your now so be joining this particular agenda to transform Ghana to where we want Ghana to be, we can just leave them behind and move on. And I think say emre be bedru they will realize the omoye and the kind of dirty politics and the trivial politics of moye. Maybe they will catch up with that. So I think so far so good. Ora no. Earlier there were a lot of criticisms and then I said for them, but baby about bedru I think is coming to light. And I will urge the Attorney General to continue because you see, so what's na kroma now quantify sika and krofo we see omobu we are free krom haya. Watch it, we ambassador. And you cannot cite a single monumental project. I bet you makasa kwabrane by a diwe no by yeah. You go back to John Mahama 2016. You'll be able to point certain your friend is saying development like Legon Hospital. Your friend is saying Anyashe Bank and several other monumental projects that transcend beyond generation. A bit me aka a di one dance here. Amount we omoba no a estate na individual so to o man sika and ye di wia di to estate. Sisa ya yere ne yabusian form e di ebebe companies this sika kum. So that is the difference. So sometimes you can't nyina bo men this in MPP ye pe. But who come in terms of development, you see that the NDC is far better than the MPP when it comes to say yen develop or mine. Because when some people come, they focus on themselves, how they can build business, their allies and their friends. But somebody will focus on how to build the universities, hospitals, and other development where a bit me mine. So for me, I think that Ghana for politics and a term and that Ghana need to near onim diako. And the Wontumi case, it's not just the Wontumi case. There are several legs of it. Matisse or say your friend is saying the other cases this was a lawyer. And then there are no one
no. Okay, 3 cases and on honor.
Yes.
Other 2 nedia. Papana nedia.
Okay.
Appiah Kubi no.
Okay.
Judgment Day, 3rd July the other now.
What is that?
Milord Abba, touching.
Yeah.
Touching.
No, that's Samurai boy there. No, so I say because I've seen reports.
No, Samurai boy no. And Judgment Day na we say your turn on him. Yeah, turn on him no enra and I think said prosecutor the 3rd witness no.
Okay.
Enra Thursday, enra Tuesday. And Appiah Kubi.
Okay.
A cross examination of that state prosecutor's witness for 3 solid hours.
Okay.
And none of the Uja Funedi says to so best Sunday, but reporter Monday by any chance. Milord. Honorable attaching.
And some be said on the but you see some of these things, I make us say a new consequential impact be on the case. Because judge and be or be the merit of the case, I said when you're from the fact. The decision be obegu. So the only option out the man want to say more your friend saying written submissions. Man, maybe he will read through, analyze before and send out the judge or guide it. And so and to one hour far won't to mean a foul Juma. Also when you be a man, young Koboko to a man, won't to mean the cause my sister may cancel. But I make us a domo yen just crocodile John tactics. Because Munim say media and also will not ask them critical questions. Because issue we all shall see our okay. Abra can say all withdraw no, Onyan withdraw you. And as Onya ne motion no crano, not yen decide on. Now on granted TV, your first a radio interview more than how many times our representative went to even in court. And here we are now, he was running media circles. The whole idea was to sow a certain way in the minds of Ghanaians. And to really nobody could say Wontumi. That is exactly what he's doing. So for me, I think that's our name way, just trivia. Ghana for will not take it serious.
Okay.
The fact of the matter, they say Ghana for the the president to deliver, especially on say aura. And as long as he's within that particular realm or Jumano, Ghana for will be satisfied. Any other thing they cause on the sideways beyond, because at the end of the day, the government no crana slow down and now fail to do that. And you see the pressure that goes on the government. So behind the scene negotiations, a man for Zoom is behind the scenes negotiation because so I don't know the day 2 million president the on wakase media chow.
I know the
It is with the people of this country, you
know,
understand? So president any right to say media chow.
And court no nye president.
Dabi.
Another arm of government.
Dabi. Inti no crowd there. Mobia because there are those speculations spinning around that. One you careful, you fall for it. Say you are couple obi chow. And it is not within obi to say media channel.
All right.
Emran and any year you might know the day a koye man a fine and koye. That is it.
Me da say ye de besi anom akasima baako na awia no 9 abo Palm Hills adaroma kan bi elso yasene Heart Builders Real Estate omo asase ewo Shy Hills Ningu Pram Dawa ena Kwame Annex asase ne